Hey brother! Jay, you know what has always bothered me about Star Wars, especially since the prequels came out? Actually, that's a pretty long list. But if Yoda can jump around and do flips and all those crazy acrobatics with a lightsaber, then why does he walk with a cane? It just doesn't add up. He hobbles around everywhere and then is highly proficient in battle. What gives? One explanation could be that he uses the cane as part of this grand deception to lure his enemies into a false sense of confidence when they face him. Feigning weakness like this is one of the first and most basic tactics described in Sun Tzu's The Art of War, which, in case you don't know, is like the guidebook on how to war. And after all, this whole series is called Star Wars, and Yoda is a general in the Clone Wars. So it kind of makes sense that he would employ such a tactic, although if he is, I have to say, he's not doing a very great job at it. Who is he fooling? If it's a secret, it's certainly not a secret to the other Jedi. Obi-Wan even says to Anakin,
"You spent as much time practicing your saber techniques as you do your wit, you would rival Master Yoda as a swordsman."
He's certainly not fooling Count Dooku, or if he is, he reveals his hand a little bit too early when he pulls his lightsaber out. Although, to be fair, Dooku probably already knew about Yoda's prowess with a lightsaber, considering he was Yoda's old apprentice. But to that end, Dooku was also the Emperor's apprentice and probably told him everything he knew about the Jedi, so the Emperor also probably knew about Yoda's ability before they fought. In fact, really the only person Yoda does a good job of deceiving is Luke when he arrives in Dagobah, and Luke is supposed to be an ally. Even then, he's fooling him to try to determine whether or not he's worthy of being trained as a Jedi, which he decides he is not. Then he does it anyway, and he barely even puts up a fight about the whole thing. Obi-Wan shows up and is all, "Just do it." So then that brings up the question, if he is being deceptive, and he has been at least on one occasion, even if he was doing a terrible job at it, is that okay for a Jedi to do? Is it okay for the leader of the noble, righteous guardians of peace in the galaxy to be constantly living and acting out a deception? Sounds very Sith-like, if you ask me. But then maybe there's no deception at all. Maybe he just actually needs to walk with a cane. After all, his deception of Luke had a lot more to do with coming across as a crazy old hermit than it did being physically disabled. But then, how can he do all those crazy acrobatics? Well, I suppose you could argue that in the prequels, Yoda is about 30 years younger. And for Obi-Wan, it does seem like the aging that took place between episodes 3 and 4 would make a significant difference in his ability to fight the Empire.
I need your help, Luke. She needs your help. I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
But that being said, Yoda lives to be 900 years old, so in the prequels he's like 870, which for us regular human beings would essentially be the difference between being 87 years old and 90 years old. So I don't think we can simply assume that he was just a heck of a lot more sprightly back then. So we have to find the common theme, which is that he only summons his superior sprightliness when in battle. Which means that Yoda is almost certainly using the Force to supplement his movements by allowing the Force to flow through him and almost control him. But if he can use the Force to make these dramatic movements in battle, why not use it to cross a room? Heck, why walk at all? Why isn't he just floating everywhere? Why all Jedi aren't just constantly floating a comfortable 6 inches off the ground is all but baffling to me. This is because Jedi, and probably Yoda most of all, are ascetic, which means they practice severe self-discipline, limiting themselves from all indulgences, often for religious purposes. Yoda even says,
"A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack."
Basically, that means that Jedi respect the Force so much that they will not use it for mundane things, like floating a comfortable 6 inches above the ground at all times. Even Yoda just using the Force to help himself walk normal would be considered a deliberate misuse of his powers.
If Master Obi-Wan caught me doing this, he'd be very grumpy.
I would make all the Jedi grumpy. Oh well! So is that it? Yoda simply respects the Force too much and therefore has to use his cane. Basically, the point that I'm trying to make is that there is a distinct difference between a Jedi's body when they are using the Force versus when they are not. At the end of the day, Jedi are still human, or whatever the heck Yoda is. Seriously, not even kidding. Not even the guy who created him knows. Now, some might call that lazy writing. Turns out there is a third reason why Yoda uses the cane, and it has to do with the actual properties of the cane. Because Yoda's cane isn't just a cane, it is actually a specific type of wood called a Geimer stick. Geimer sticks are unique because inside them they hold nutritious juices that ease thirst and act as a natural painkiller. Which all just points back to Yoda simply being an old man, or whatever he is, with natural aches and pains, but uses his knowledge of the Force to perform acts most people couldn't in their prime, even if they were training every day. Guys, for my question of the day, what would you do? Would you respect the rules of the Jedi, or would you float a comfortable 6 inches above the ground at all times? Leave your thoughts in the towel section down below. As always, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to see some more Star Wars action from us, you can click right here to find out how Jedi are all evil, or right here to have all the lightsaber colors explained. But Jay, that is everything that I've got for you today, man. I will see you on Tuesday.